Excellent. You are escorted by guards throughout the day. It's about a 4-day ride, which I guess you guys don't have horses anymore. So you're lent horses for the trip, but they say they're going to take the horses away once you reach the edge of the Syllwode.
Why don't
But
we?
I still have mine, right?
Yes, you have your horse.
Why don't we have our horses?
Because you lost them at some point throughout the Syllwode, and you haven't gotten like legit horses back. The only horse, I guess, you had horses in the north when you were fighting the war, but those were also borrowed horses, I think.
Okay, that's fine.
So
Oh yeah, I remember because we couldn't ride them and we couldn't ride horses in the Syllwode, so we left the cart and then we circled up to where we were fighting the north, and we would have lost them at that point.
Right, and Sublime was with the cart, so he shouldn't have been with you guys. But we'll say that Sublime left the cart and the horses at Winterhaven and then came back.
No, but I mean unless the cart couldn't come into the Syllwode, it makes sense that he would have been with the cart, and then the horses got lost somewhere between the front lines and us.
Okay, I'm fine with that too. It just means that all the stuff you guys left on the cart, well, I guess Sublime was carrying it. So Sublime's pretty upset about that.
Okay.
Wait, I'm confused. What's happening to Sublime?
So I made a mistake, and I forgot that when you guys first entered the Syllwode, Sublime was kind of left with the cart and the horses, and you left him outside. But then I forgot that, and I made him be with you the whole time. So buttons. So we'll say that yeah. So the horses and the cart are gone, but everything that you guys left in the cart, Sublime was able to bring with him.
Awesome.
Right. Is there anything you guys would like to do? Unfortunately, you leave Rando behind as a tearful goodbye, and you're sort of reminded too that, oh shit, Jack is supposed to escort those orcs to the edge of the Syllwode and meet you back in Liliander in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days.
He'll never be able to get back in.
Before we leave, can we maybe leave messages to the guards around the perimeter to tell
They
them
probably
they're
would
there?
just push him in the right direction.
Jack, as you recall, was escorted by 2 elven guards.
And I bet, he's a good folk, so he's probably gotten some goodwill with them.
He's a minotaur.
He's a cool minotaur, though. It's all religious and stuff.
It's true. Okay, you reach the town of whatever I said the name of the town was, where Arwen's niece lives. And in short order,
freed up. I'll be right back.
okay, excellent. In short order, are escorted to her house, the extended Talman family house here, which is not as grand a house as the one in Liliander, but it's still quite nice. It kicks in the door. Rawr, Elliot jumps down. Give me the card. I'm a big scary human. Blah, boogie, boogie, boogie.
Yeah. Oh, man. God damn it. I suppose it's my own fault for being absent for it. For all of that herpes drama. But that's just craziness.
Why is it your fault? What do you mean?
For acting so antagonistic towards Arwen. I mean, I don't agree with her initial arresting thing, but if I knew that her prerogative was about if I knew that she knew that it was going to be a problem for all of us what herpes did, then I might have reacted differently to that.
I don't know. Don't sweat it. They're all adults. They got themselves into this situation.
Yeah.
Back.
Excellent. You have arrived at the house of your extended family. When you dismount, your niece comes bounding out of the door, so excited to see you. She's like, Auntie Arwen, I haven't seen you in forever. Oh, look at your armor. It's so shiny. Look, you're so big and strong.
I give her a big hug and I let her touch my armor.
She's excited to see it. And then she kind of looks at the rest of the group and she goes, oh! She says, is that a real dwarf?
Yes, that is a real dwarf. Are you scared?
She's a little scared now. The Murgatroyd pulled a little face on her, so she's kind of hides behind you and she says, oh, there's a real dwarf. I've only heard stories and seen pictures.
Well,
Why are his
remember-
eyes not glowing red, like in all of my nursery rhymes?
I'll get to that, sweetie. Remember last time I was here? You were playing with something?
She says, yes, the spooky card. She said, it had a skull on it, a man's skull. And then she kind of looks a little bit nervous at the humans that are in the group. And then extra nervous that there's an Eladrin in the group.
What happened to that card?
Herpes took it.
She kind of looks upset. She says, I lost it. When we were fleeing to the east, the evacuation, she said, we packed up everything and I was playing with it in the back of the cart as our family was rolling towards the safety of the mountains, and I dropped it, and Daddy wouldn't turn around. It fell on the path.
That's okay, sweetie. It's not your fault.
She says, I'm sorry. She says, don't let the dwarf eat me.
Actually, that dwarf is pretty nice. He might even let you tickle him.
What? She kind of peeks around, kind of giving Murgatroyd a kind of coy, playful look as she edges around the bulk of Arwen's plate mail. Murgatroyd makes makes gargling noises, and
That's the way you laugh, sweetie. It's okay.
She giggles a little bit, hiding her smile behind her mouth. It's not too long then before her parents come out and they see you, and they call her over to their side, and they say, Arwen, they say, you have returned, and with mixed company. Your cousin, the mother, who you guys were always kind of in a little bit of a competition thing, right? They were, she was always like trying to outdo each other. She looks to you and she says, I see you have become a paladin. Good for you.
Oh, thank you, cousin. We're actually on our way out of town. I just wanted to say goodbye.
Oh, that's a shame. It's too bad that you couldn't stay longer.
It really is, but we have some escorts, so we're about to head out of town.
Well, do come back and visit us again. Perhaps you'll be a high priestess then.
Give me a second. I'm formulating something to say.
You guys can see the heat haze over Arwen's head.
Insert catty remark, please.
High priestess of your mom.
We'll say that make an IQ or a bluff check. So if you're trained in bluff, you can make that check. Otherwise, just make a 20 plus IQ plus half level. IQ mod plus half level.
Or what if I just say, it's good to see nothing's changed with you either. It's been good to see you.
That was way better. Nice one. She gives you a kind of a snide smile, and you catch that her husband had a little bit of a chuckle, and she then elbowed him in the ribs at that. The guards cough politely.
We continue on.
Excellent. So you spend the next 2 days as they escort you to the edge of the Syllwode. I'll flip you guys over to the world map here so you can see. Oh, we're already on the world map. And zooming in to the Syllwode. So that's where you guys are, is here on the edge of the Syllwode. Not far from where you guys entered.
Is the cart still there?
It's there, but it's ruined.
Hmm.
We sent the cart to like Whitehaven or something.
All right.
That's true.
Right,
Yeah,
sorry.
I'm fine with that. That the cart was sent back to Winterhaven. That's fine.
Sigh. Okay. Well, that sucks. We're still short one card.
But we gained like 3. I would call that win.
No, we need all of them.
We're running out of time, too.
Yeah, what with all this dealings and stuff, you guys know that you have 52 days before the contract is up with the White Queen.
Sigh.
52 days to get. How hard can that be?
Really hard if it's still in the Syllwode.
You said it was destroyed.
The card? The cards can't be destroyed.
Oh, so there is a card still in the Syllwode and it's not destroyed.
It might be in the Syllwode. We don't know where it is. That's the problem. Could be like anywhere.
How did we track down the ones that were in the towers before?
We just saw them as like places of interest, and we went investigating. They weren't. There wasn't a card in every tower.
Right, but there was times that we had used some sort of ability to locate a general whereabouts.
Yeah, if you were in close enough proximity.
Yeah.
And we are not?
We don't know.
Oh,
What?
shit snacks. All right, so you rub some of the cards on Vince until you're coming dangerously close to shuffling them on the side of him. And then you stop. And yeah, Vince just reaches out and put his hand on a card, and like a dowsing rod, his free hand snaps up, pointing directly east back into the Syllwode.
Joy.
That away.
Is it clear that it's in the Syllwode or it's in that direction? It could be past the Syllwode.
It's definitely in the Syllwode. They all scattered inside it. Wait a minute. Where was gross. Where did Jack have to go? He had to go to escort the orcs to the edge of the Syllwode and then back to Lilliander.
Yes.
And it's like a 4-day ride from Lilliander to the edge of the Syllwode.
Which way?
Not the
way
direction he was going.
Yeah, the way he was going, it was a 6-day walk, and the way you guys are going was an 8-day walk.
Okay.
And he's walking.
So, 8-day walk. And he left how many days before we left?
By your calculation, he is due to return in Lilliander in 6 days. So he is probably just at the far side of the forest. Right? If you guys could do like classic movie zoom out to satellite view and then zoom in, you guys are standing on the edge of the forest over here. And Jack and some elven guards are saying goodbye to the orcs. They were orcs that they're releasing on the other side over here.
I bet Jack has it. I bet he found that last card.
You think there'd be 2 cards just lying in the middle of the road?
No, but I mean, we didn't get any cards from any of the orcs. And it seems likely that with Jack's sway with the orcs that he would get one from them. I don't know.
His sway?
Yeah.
He betrayed them.
Yeah, but he also got... They're also flying his banner.
He saved their lives from the Baroque place.
There was a lot going on. It's nuanced.
But yeah, I guess anything's possible. You guys want to just camp out, hedge your bets that Jack has the other card, and in 6 days he'll get back to Lilliander and then be escorted to here, which will take another 4 days. So it's 10 days of camping to find out if Jack returns with the last card.
Arwen, what is going to happen to us if we're caught back in the Syllwode?
Since we've been banished for 100 years, I say it will not be good. I'm not against sneaking back in and doing a little looking around, but again, if we get caught, I'm going to go justice side, so...
What if we... Wait, whoa, you're gonna what?
Just aside?
The side of
it's all
justice.
about justice, so whatever. If we do something wrong and we get caught, I believe that we have to pay for what we did.
Right.
So I'm not going to, try to fight my way out of a bunch of elven guards because we're breaking in somewhere.
Right.
Well, we could disguise ourselves.
I'm down with that. I'm all down with not getting caught.
I mean, I do have. I mean, I am one of the most recognized men in all of the plains, but I never did try growing out any facial hair.
I think that's going to be our best bet. Is disguise and go back in.
I think we need more intel on where this card might be, so maybe we could like skirt around the Syllwode. The guards there will still be friendly to us. They might talk to us.
This is the spot that the guards know where you guys are, though. If you leave this spot, you're going to have to leave some kind of note so that Jack, when the guards tell him that you guys have been escorted and dropped here, and then he arrives here, can find you.
Or we could be back before he arrives.
Also true.
Sublime could be here.
Or Sublime could be here. And Sublime's like, oh, man.
Come on, Sublime, you owe me by this point.
So the Syllwode has lots of guards posted at all the entryways. I mean, if we walk around, and I will be able to spot them because, I can see into the Syllwode. Maybe we could converse with them and see if they know anything and maybe get an idea of where the card might be before we go dipping into the jail crap.
Yeah. It's a big perimeter, though. Like, it'd take us, probably 20 days to get around to the other side, right?
Yeah, the scale on this map is approximately 1 centimeter equals 2 days of walking.
Well, I'm not suggesting we go all the way around. I'm pretty sure the guard have a way of keeping in contact with each other if anything suspicious comes up. Maybe they've seen something and it's been passed around.
Sorry, I meant 4 days. 1 centimeter equals 4 days of walking.
You can move really quick through the Syllwode, right?
I can.
Yeah, they're like the rest of us are slowed down by all the bric-a-brac. What if we disguise you as not you, so you're just a different elf, and you move quickly through the Syllwode to try and find Jack and/or that last card?
Well, we could do that, but then I would have with the guard or anything. Nobody would want to talk to me.
Right, but it's going to be hard for us to talk to anybody anyways. Right? Like, it's going to be really difficult for the Rod Stewards who are banished to talk to anybody.
I don't think it's going to be hard for us to talk to people. They just won't let us back in. I think the guard probably really respects what Arwen did in bringing back the prisoner, and I think they probably give her a lot of leeway. They're just not going to let us back inside the Syllwode.
What if we just disguise ourselves? Go with someone else.
Whatever you guys want to do, I'm down with that.
I mean, we know there's magic out there to do all kinds of crazy things, change genders and whatnot. It shouldn't be that difficult to go in as another body.
I was just suggesting that I might be able to get some information out of the guards posted, like on the outskirts, that I would not be able to get from people if they don't know who I am.
I see. All right.
I mean, worst case scenario, why don't we walk to the closest post that I can see, which probably isn't that far, and speak to the guard and see what they say.
Why don't you go ahead? No need for us to get involved.
That's true. Why don't you guys just wait here and I'll be right back.
Deal.
Alright, Arwen walks up and looks for the next guard that she can spot.
North or south?
Towards the direction I think the card is.
Wait. Oh, never mind.
East. Unfortunately, the card he pointed due east.
Can you ping where I am right now?
I'll do even better. I'll draw a little arrow.
South.
Excellent. All right. You head south. And, there's not really any major entryways. You're pretty sure that there's like scouts that patrol and things like that. But after you walk for a day, you reach a hill and look down at just...
A day. I was thinking like an hour.
No, it's going to take a day to get to the next major entryway where there will be guards. You look down at the plains that are just destroyed. So the grasslands outside of the woods here have been trampled into mud, and there's a big swath cut into the side of this forest that has just been clear-cut. Trees were chopped right down to the ground, and then the ground was burned. This is the path that the orcs took when they marched into the Syllwode. So yes, there are a contingent of elven guards all kind of standing around here, which when they see you crest the hill, you see some of them kind of get to attention and they see you off in the distance. You can see that these guards are there protecting several elven druids that are walking amongst the destruction, planting seeds and casting magical unctions to help the forest regrow.
I slowly approach, very non-threatening.
Okay. As you approach, you see they've got their spears in their hands, and the two that are archers have their bows out, but they do not have arrows nocked. One of them says to you, "Greetings, fellow elf."
Greetings. I've come to speak to you about something, if that's okay.
Certainly. He says, "What brings you on approach from the outside of the Syllwode?"
Well, I'm in search of something, and I'm just wondering if you might have any information on where I might find it.
He says, "I am pleased to help any elf who is a member of the cloth, or the armor in this case."
Thank you, I'm glad to hear that. I am in search of a card that I've been told is somewhere in the Syllwode, and I was hoping you may have heard of it.
He looks, he's like, "Oh, as you know, the Syllwode is quite extensive. There are probably a great many cards located here. What's the nature of this card?"
Not sure how to describe the card. Is it evil? What is this card?
They're magical. You've been around these guys for long enough that you've probably seen a couple of them. They're carved out of some type of material that is rigid, but with a little bit of flex to it. There's an image of two dragons on the back, a white dragon and a black dragon, kind of intertwined in a bit of a yin-yang circle thing. And then they have other images on the face. They are strong magical artifacts, but I guess make an arcana check for me, please, to get a little more history on these cards. You've heard of the Deck of Many Things, in your study, in your training. It's a powerful, wild magic item that is imbued with chaos power, and its random nature makes it feared but also desirable. You know that one of the gifts bestowed by the deck, if you draw the proper card, is a wish. So in your readings, some people have gone mad searching for this deck, just trying to get a wish, a highly praised magical blessing, as it were. But they're not evil so much as their reputation is evil, because they tend to be used by people and abused by people as a source of power.
The card I seek, it possesses much magical ability. Also, you may have seen two dragons carved on the back. I'm wondering if you've seen anything like this.
He looks at you perplexed and looks to the rest of his group, who kind of shake their heads. They all look back at you with blank expressions on their faces. They've never heard of anything like that.
Awesome. Well, this is awkward. Not sure what to do.
Yeah, they're super, desired. I don't know. Finding one is really hard.
At this moment, an elven rider kind of rides up and slides out of his saddle. You can see him off in the distance talking to some other elven guards that are protecting some druids a little further along this swath of destruction that cuts into the forest. It breaks your heart a little bit to see the beautiful Syllwode so burnt and ruined. He hands over a scroll and then kind of casts around, and you can see he does a little bit of a double take when he looks in your direction. He's still a little ways off, like 200 yards off, but he sees you, and then he goes back to the scroll which the elven officer is reading, and he points at part of the scroll, and then he points over in your direction.
That doesn't sound good. Kind of like those.
Sorry, you cut out there. What did you say, Crystal?
I said that doesn't sound good, but I think I would like to speak to those druids.
Okay.
So I'm going to thank these fine officers for all the help that they've given me, and I'm going to advance towards where they are.
Excellent. As you walk across the burnt and tortured landscape towards where the druids are happily planting and singing their songs, well, they sprinkle the ground with sweet water that has been blessed. The guy with the scroll, the guard with the scroll, and the officer, as well as two other guys, start to walk towards you, but you are going to get a chance to talk to the druids before they get there. They turn and look at you, and they say, "Ah, sister, how may we help you? Be careful where you trod. There are new seedlings," right? And they kind of point down to where they've been planting the little seedlings.
And Erwin says, I appreciate your work here. What's happened to the Syllwode it's terrible. It breaks my heart. I want to thank you for all your hard work, but I was hoping to ask you if you felt any mystical energy. I'm actually seeking a mystical object that is in the Syllwode.
All right, she cocks her head a little bit, and she says, "Unfortunately, since we've arrived here, all we feel is pain and death." And she gestures around, and she sprinkles a little more water, and the other druids are happily singing to themselves, and the guards are still headed in your direction. She says, "I'm looking for something, though. That's interesting. What variety of magics are you searching?"
Well, I'm searching for a magical card.
She, her eyes kind of perk up, and she says, "Oh, yes. What type of card?"
It has much magical power. There have been people who say that if you get it, you may be granted a wish.
She says, she kind of gasps a little bit. She says, "Oh, one of the cursed cards from the deck of many things."
It has been portrayed that way, yes. Have you seen it?
She says, "I have not, but before I left Liliander, there was some damage done to the Tree of Life. A magical wound cut into the side of it, and I believe that might be something to investigate."
I appreciate this. Do any of your fellow druids have anything else to add?
Shut up, Valhalla. You're not there. No, they don't have any other information to add.
All right. I thank them and wish them well, and hoping that they can reseed the Syllwode back to its former glory, and I head back to the rest of the party.
All right. Are you going to sack out for the night, or are you going to walk through the night to get back there?
Well, seeing how there's guards following me, I'm probably just going to keep going.
Okay. Please make an endurance check, DC 13.
My endurance sucks. Hold on.
Oh, you made it. So you walk through the night, stopping when you need to snack on some of the lovely elven bread that your mother and grandmother packed for you, and drink the delicious sweet water that comes from the wells in the Syllwode. You'll be sad when this water runs out and you have to go back to drinking the water drawn from the lands elsewhere. But you're able to make it back, and you only lose one healing surge. So at just before dawn the next morning, fellas, you are rousted by Arwen coming back to the campsite.
Any word?
They think that the Tree of Life.
You kind of cut out there.
Oh, I apologize. They think that the card has something to do with a giant hole that has been cut in the Tree of Life.
Oh, I already got that one, sweetie.
Yeah.
Miles ahead of you, honey. Miles ahead.
Mayor.
So it was all pretty futile, it seems.
Well, thank God it was only me that went and did it on my own.
Are you mocking me, sweetheart?
Sure am.
But
I think you've been enough enemies among this crew, don't you, Theory?
look,
Pretty boy, come on, we're just playing.
Arwen, here's the thing. It looks like we have to go back into the Syllwode,
Agreed.
and I vote not to travel with you.
All right.
I mean, you just told us yesterday that if you're with us and we're caught, that you're going to help them arrest us rather than help us escape. So
No. I agree you should go on your own, but best of luck.
see, this is the difficult position that we're in here, right? Like, if we travel together, all of us are at a disadvantage because of your loyalties, and if we travel on our own, we're at a disadvantage because we're one member weaker.
Okay.
And Arwen knows
let me
the...
put it like this. Arwen's ultimate loyalties are to what is right. So if we travel together and you guys don't murder people and stuff, then her allegiance is with the party. But if that changes, and then instead of, defending and, not killing people, then yes, her allegiance changes to the side of justice.
So if we are accosted by guards, you're going to... Are you going to help us escape, or are you going to help the guards detain us?
I would absolutely help you escape as long as we are fighting to disarm and not to kill.
That's a very, very difficult line.
Murgatroyd,
Yeah,
you're not familiar with that word. There's no dwarven word for disarm.
Right? Like this, like...
I was like, what?
Are you? Do you become the arbiter of, like, when we cross the line of aggression?
No, but I think it would be clear to any, sane person if somebody was actually trying to kill somebody, or if they were just trying to get away and accidentally somebody got hurt.
But saying, see, this is the thing, is like it's clear to any sane person. So we're in there. We get surrounded by the guards. They order us to disarm. They've got us completely surrounded. We choose one part of the circle and push through. That's going to involve hitting and likely hurting these guards in order for us to escape. I don't feel that I could trust you to not perceive that as a lethal attack.
Hurting is not intentionally trying to hurt someone, especially after, I've said, hey, why are you doing that? We're breaking in here. Why are you trying to kill them? They're just doing their job. There's a difference between actually, trying to escape and actually murdering people.
That we're hugging.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
Don't forget, those guys were hugging when Herpes threw the last acid orb at them.
They were actually crying and embracing each other, and he threw an acid orb at them.
Yeah, I didn't know that. Elliot didn't see any of that.
Oh, right. Maybe mention that to him, Arwen.
Arwen mentions the scene about the acid orb and the crying and the hugging.
Right. Okay. Well...
So as long as you guys
Lauren,
don't
my
try
bad,
and
I
kill
don't
people
remember.
that are hugging, you'll be okay.
I mean, you seem to think that I actually, turned my back on Herpes and I, threw him to the wolves. He had so many chances. I did everything I could. He just he gave me actually zero choice.
Yeah, it's seeming that way. I think that information needed to get shared. Herpes fought with us?
Herpes also threw off his daily at me after I captured him after throwing the acid orb at the hugging people.
Yeah, but okay. See, we didn't know that. This information didn't come back to the party, or at least it didn't come back to Elliot.
I apologize. It's hard to tell who was at the courtroom when we were all there and how much they shared with everybody. So.
Right.
And it's true. Murgatroyd is right. Herpes did fight with them
When was this situation?
against some gnolls. Herpes wanted to parlay. Murgatroyd and Vince were not having it. I don't think it came to blows, but Herpes definitely walked away from the fight and left Murgatroyd and Vince to battle 6 gnolls all by themselves.
Oh, yeah.
Huh. Yeah. All right. Well, if that's your stance, then I'm cool personally with you coming with us. And it sounds like Murgatroyd is with you as well. Then I say we do it. I say we disguise ourselves and head in, I guess.
I don't know. I don't know about this. To be honest, we barely know these newcomers.
Yeah, but
I think y'all are just a little bit too trusting, don't you think? I mean, look what happens. One of our new friends is ended up murdering someone. I don't know.
It is true, yeah.
A hot pile of dookie here, don't you think?
I think Valhalla is going to be key here because in disguise, I think if we get discovered, his fame, people will just be like, oh, that's Valhalla. We should let him go through.
I'm not doubting the powers of myself, honey. I'm doubting the powers of you.
I gathered that, but I was just, trying to help out.
all right, well, I'm going to get started on disguising myself. Is that a thievery check, John, or a...
It's a something check. Why don't you convince me?
Okay, I mean...
You gonna use your thievery background, or you're gonna use your background in as a thespian with bluff to do some makeup? Or are you gonna do?
Yeah, I think that's the best way. Like, I would say thievery is probably more of like a camouflage and less of a disguise. So I'm gonna go for bluff.
Okay. You can take 10 on it if you want.
Okay. Kind of wanna. My bluff would be against their perception or their
Yeah, their perception. You can take 20 on it if you want.
20 would be like all day.
That'd be 2 days.
Okay, I'll just do 1 day, and I think I do want to roll for it. I believe I can roll higher than a 6.
Okay.
I can't. I will add 4 to that, so I'm at 19. Christ. That was almost a crit.
Classic.
Yeah, figures.
So the rest of you, are you building your own disguises as well, or are you going to wait for Elliot to do your disguises? All right.
I'm going to do...
Sorry, what do I have to roll?
You have to roll what you think is going to make the best disguise. Just make a note somewhere to write down which skill you use and what your role is. Because later on, when you're trying to fool people, I will be asking you which skill and what was the role. So Elliot made a diplomacy roll of 15 to create his elf disguise.
Oh, I meant to hit bluff, but they're the same skill level.
So Elliot made a bluff check of 15 to make his disguise. So his disguise is based upon his ability to fool people through his charisma, through his charm.
What do I have to match or beat?
There is no beat. The number you're rolling here, I have to roll against when somebody's using their perception to sniff you out.
Can I do something funky with Arcana?
Yes. you can make an Arcana check to make yourself look more like an elf.
Oh, just a normal elf. Sweet. 19's all right.
Yeah, that's what I got too.
All rolls under 20. Okay, so far this is great. Just make a note of what you got. So Vince gets some fine pink powder and creates a little bit of paint to hide his blue, and then uses magic to make it stick faster onto his face. And then just kind of slouches a little bit and acts a little bit more hillbilly-ish in his attempt to be less Eladrin and more elf.
Hello.
Do I get to make a costume? Can I make it out? Can I not try to be an elf, but more? Can I look like a bunch of bushes?
Yes, you can try and make a costume that looks like a bunch of bushes.
Like a ghillie suit.
Yep, you can make a ghillie suit. That would be like a nature check. Nice. Murgatroyd's ghillie suit is the best disguise out of all of yours. Yeah, Vince starts looking around. Where did Murgatroyd go? So Sublime is just like, so I'm just going to wait for you guys here or still, right? That's the plan? Because there ain't no black elves.
Really?
Well, no, there's no black elves.
Oh.
The Sublime says, what's a drow?
I hand him some of the powder that I use.
He's like, yo, I'm not putting on white face.
Good for you.
That's offensive.
All right, before we go, I don't want to be the one to get us discovered. Can I use my 2 bump points to bump up my disguise roll?
You sure can. So, I do have to question, though, Arwen. What are you doing about your shiny paladin plate mail? Because that is hard to disguise. You can try wearing a big cloak over top of all of it, but then if for whatever reason the cloak becomes opened, there'll be shiny plate mail. You can paint over it, but you'll have to be painting over your holy symbols, and that might not sit 100% right with you.
Are there any diplomatic members that wear shiny things?
Not really. Plate mail amongst elves is not super common. Elves being a race that prefers mobility over damage resistance. The only elves that wear full plate are paladins.
All right. I am going to assume that we're going to pull this off with not more than 1 or 2 small inconveniences. I'm going to hide my armor before we go in.
You can leave it here with Sublime.
I'm going to hide it.
Okay.
Racist.
Make a nature check, please. Racist.
Wow.
And this nature check will be against other people's nature check to find your hiding spot.
Dear Lord.
This is some low rolls. Everybody's rolling low on the old random dice generator today.
Yeah. Except for my endurance check. That was spot on.
Those balls out. Okay.
All right. Well, just in case it helps, I'd like to hide it high up in a tree so people walking by don't spot it.
Perfect. You make what looks like a large bird's nest around the armor and stash it high up in the fork of a tree. Beauty. So, disguise is all made. You.
I didn't get to go yet.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Valhalla.
I'll ditch the leather armor that I was wearing. I don't need it anymore.
Okay.
Oof. Are you if anyone else is doing, what skill are you using, Valhalla?
Well,
I can buff charisma by 2 to get you 16.
you can. How can you do that?
My mob mentality power. I'll just be like, yeah, look at you, you're an elf, yeah. Probably just boost your confidence.
I should say, I want to give you each a bump point for the role play of captured herpes.
Oh, well, thank you.
That whole scene in the house. I think that it was very dramatically intense, and everyone did a good job. So everyone gets a bump point for that scene.
That was brutally hard. I did not. It was very uncomfortable in a fun like game way.
Yeah, like watching a really nasty scene in a movie where you're like, oh god, but it's okay because it's just a movie.
It felt very like The Wire.
Yeah, yeah. Okay,
Where's Wallet?
what skill were you rolling there, just out of curiosity, Valhalla, to create your disguise?
Bluff.
Beauty. All right, so you have disguised yourself as an elf, and what are you doing about your purple Valhalla Kazam lightning bolt jumpsuit?
I'll put on. I don't know. I'll put on my older one because I do have a nicer one and an older one. I'll put on the older one, and then I don't know. It's kind of hard. I don't know. Does anyone have any armor or anything I can wear?
You could wear the leather armor I just took off, but
Yeah, I'll do
it
that.
might be recognizable.
Okay, well then I have some scale mail I've been carrying around. I'll put that on.
You have scale mail you've been carrying around? That shit is heavy.
I don't know. No one said anything about weight restrictions.
I am saying now, henceforth, there will be things about weight restrictions. So.
All right. Well, I will put the scale mail on for now.
Okay.
Do I look disguised? Do I look like Valhalla Kazam?
You do not look like Valhalla Kazam. Valhalla Kazam is very recognizable.
Good.
You do not. So you don't comb your hair up into a pompadour. You've got a kind of hanging limp, and you made some kind of pointy ear disguise, and you're not wearing your usual flamboyant clothes.
Oh, you know what would have made sense is to disguise yourself as a Valhalla Kazam lookalike.
There ain't no lookalikes, honey.
I don't know. I've been making a ton of money hosting a Valhalla Kazam lookalike festival. There's cover bands, tribute acts.
Valhalla Kazam cover band, The Whirling Threats.
The Vicious Mockery.
Oh, that's actually a pretty good name for a band. Anyway, so you finish spending a day, all of you sitting around, like the scene in Mystery Men where you're all sewing your costumes and getting your makeup together and everything. Then you're like, okay, good. Then you turn around to see the elf guards that were standing right by the forest have been watching you the whole time. No, I'm kidding. You guys moved a sensible distance away.
Mean Johnny.
Excellent. And with Arwen's help, a guide is going to be invaluable to re-enter the Syllwode, especially if you're going to stay off the main roads. She leads you to one of the footpaths that goes back in, and Sublime gives you guys a bit of a sad wave goodbye, like, okay, good luck. Gives you a thumbs up.
If Jack shows up, just wait here with him.
All right. 7 extra. So you just put on all 7 Valhalla outfits and disguise yourself as a fat guy?
What? No, I was just going to put another one on and then, I don't know, make it look different somehow.
I've got a Valhalla Kazam t-shirt you could wear.
I'll put the t-shirt on. Does that make me look different enough?
Yes, it makes you look different.
All right.
Hey, you look just like him.
And yeah, Murgatroyd gives Sublime a little fist bump on his way in, and then his arm retracts back into his bush disguise, and he looks like a shaggy bush kind of hopping back and forth across the path. Okay, and you head into the Syllwode. You travel for a day deeper into the Syllwode. Arwen, at the lead, helps you avoid any kind of scouting groups of patrolling elves as they watch the border of the Syllwode. And after nightfall, you come upon the dimly lit outskirts of a small elven village.
Do I know the village?
Yes, you do know the village. It's a village of Lierview.
Do I have relatives here?
You do not, unfortunately.
Do I have allies here?
You do not. You have fewer allies than relatives.
That's rough.
I don't suppose with Vince's crit that he would have some kind of proximity sensor or any kind of idea as to how far in we gotta go.
The crit was the only thing that gave him a direction.
Gotcha.
He was not going to be able to do it at this range. Period.
Gotcha.
The crit was the only thing that made him win.
No problem.
But now that we're closer, we can roll for see what it is.
You can try.
The cards,
Oh!
I point the other way where we can't. Like, I think it was the other way.
No,
Back-to-back crits.
You just you got nothing. You're holding the deck in your hand, Vince, and you got absolutely nothing. Where you decide to point, if you decide to point, is totally up to you.
Yeah.
But
Oh,
I
I
will
will.
say that you hear the voice of Kashatri laughing in the back of your mind.
I'll do some code.
Yeah.
could I try a history roll? I assume the cards are old.
Yeah, but they redistribute, right? So they're gonna go to wherever. Yeah, sure. Might help.
History would give you information about the cards, but to be able to use the cards to hone in on their magic, you need to use Arcana.
What might make sense is history of like the Syllwode itself, because the cards, in our experience, have sought out people of power. So maybe if you can use your knowledge, maybe like streetwise or history knowledge of the Syllwode to, maybe you'd have a good insight as to where the cards might have dispersed themselves.
Are we sure that this card dispersed itself? I feel like someone has the card.
That's what I mean, right? Like when we drew from the deck, they all went from where they were at, which is Gardmore Abbey, to the Syllwode. Am I too metagaming here, John?
Nope.
Okay. They all dispersed into the Syllwode. Oh yeah, because the fairies told us this information, I think. Or someone told us the information that they all dispersed into the Syllwode. So they would have gone to various places throughout the Syllwode, and they seek out people of power. So it's somebody has it.
Well, my history roll was not that great, but
Your history roll would give you like the most powerful and influential person in this village.
so the Barocks.
Nope, not in this village.
Oh, okay.
But it is a less than savory character. So I'm going to say that this village is pretty close to the border, so you know that there is someone here who does deals with humans kind of under the table. He's like the guy who can get you human stuff.
Well, that's pretty sweet. We should be able to find him pretty quickly.
Yep. The biggest
So
house.
Let's scout it out and find him.
All right, you head to we'll call it Redstone Manor, which is the place where this guy lives. So named because of the color of the stones that he has built the front archway and several other details of the house out of. You also have heard rumors. You've never been to his house, but it is said that he has a large collection of bloodstone and a precious stone that's a deep red, that's a ruby, that forms the entire lintel of his fireplace.
Murgatroyd, be cool.
This all sounds bad, but since Arwen hasn't been here in a long time, can she do a check to see if this person is actually evil?
Yeah, make a religion check. All right, you relax your mind and open your third eye, letting the hand of Athena guide you around as you sense for the presence of evil. And there is evil here, but it is not like the pure evil you got from the Barocks. It's more like the evil of a man who doesn't care if he steps on other people to get what he wants.
All right, well, to me, that makes a difference. All right, do you guys want to scope the place out and see the movement and stuff and try and break in and get the card?
I doubt very much that the card is here. I think what we're gonna get here is like information on where it is.
Someone who wants that kind of power, why would they let the card be somewhere else?
I don't understand.
This is the most powerful family in this village.
In this village, right? The Syllwode is huge. The cards disperse themselves all over the place.
But once they disperse, people can move them from place to place. This card could have been passed from anyone to anyone.
True. I think we're gonna want to talk to this guy. Probably try some sleazy stuff. Maybe convince him that we're here representing that that human store in the capital.
I like that.
I forget what it's called. The Black Cloak. That's the one. Here, picking up some under the table items for the Black Cloak. I like it.
Let's approach him.
Do it.
Excellent. By the front door, by the back door.
Front door.
All right. And what is Murgatroyd going to do?
Bush?
Excellent. Murgatroyd blends in with the shrubbery. You knock on the front door, and it's opened by a very clean-cut and proper-looking elf who greets you, and he says, yes, what brings you to our household at this time of the evening, strangers?
Hello. We're here on business from the Black Cloak. We're coming to see
He shuts the door.
Oh.
Awesome. Clearly, he owes them money.
Knock again.
The little viewing portal opens, and he says, I have been instructed by my master to inform you to return to the barracks and tell them we no longer wish to do business with them.
Why?
Says that is a matter between our masters. Now, please remove yourself from our front step before I have to inform. He drops a name before I have to inform Balliard.
Look, I'm not.
Arwen nudges and wants a sidebar with my companion.
Look, I'm not here representing the barracks. I'm here for the store. The store is a good business inside Liliander. It brings in customers looking for items that they can't find anywhere else.
He shuts the thing. You know that the store is owned and run by the barracks.
No, I know that, but
yeah.
Dude, back it up a sec.
I don't have any choice. The thing's closed.
They're against the Brocks. They're going to be basically on our side. Once they find out that we are planning to take them down or hurt them, they might cooperate with us.
It's possible. I mean, but I mean, just because you're against the barracks doesn't mean that you're... Sure, go for it. You lead.
Oh, okay. I knock on the door.
I'll step away.
The thing opens again, and he says, what was the name? Balliard has been notified. He will be around shortly with the dogs. I suggest you leave.
Hey, before you go, what's your grievance with the Barracks? I thought they were your friends.
Our friends? No. He says, friends do not do business like that. Good evening. He shuts the thing again.
Knock again.
It does not get answered, and you start to hear the sound of large dogs barking.
Damn it, I think we could have got to them.
The bush starts to bush away.
Going into the, yeah, I'll go after the bush.
Arwen bangs on the door again, and she says,
I'm out.
Let us in. We're not with the Brocks. We will help you. I am from the family Talman. I am on your side. Let us in. We will help you.
Oh, my. Okay.
Yikes.
Oh, yes. Okay. The slot opens again, and he says, the family Talman. He says, one moment. He opens the door, and he steps out. just as a very large and scarred-looking elf comes around the corner with 6 big dogs on chains. And he says, "One moment." And the big beefy guy, just kind of rolls his eyes. He turns to you and he says, "Are you indeed from the family Talman?" He then proceeds to ask you some questions, like who your mother is, who her mother is, who your aunt is, which, of course, do you answer truthfully?
Yes.
He says, very interesting. And he says, "And why have you come here?" And he gestures up and down with his hand, so dressed and claiming to be working for the Baracks.
Well, lying hasn't worked, so I tell him everything.
Like, everything?
Everything that pertains to the situation.
Like, about the deck of many things?
I need a second to think. Where is the deck of many things right now, the ones that we have?
I'm not telling you.
You
I was asking Johnny, but...
You think one of these guys has it. You see it kind of materialize out of a bag of holding to be passed to Vince so he can arcana it, and then it gets handed back to either Murgatroyd or Elliot, which then disappears into another bag of holding. But it doesn't seem like it always comes and goes back to the same person.
Well, I'm going to have a little faith in the elves, my brethren, and as long as they don't have hold of the deck of cards, or the deck of many things, yes, I am going to tell them everything.
Excellent. Well, as soon as you mention the deck of many things, he says, come in, and he looks around and, I don't know, Vince and Valhalla, did you guys stay or did you also bail?
Not gone.
I missed that, Vince. Sorry, you had weird echoes.
I would have bailed.
You would have bailed? You two, Valhalla's not here, so he would have also bailed. So it's just you standing there. So he says, come in out of the night. I'm sure that your traveling companions will find their own way. And he turns to the big elf and he says, Baliard. He says, go back to bed. And the big elf just kind of snorts to himself and yanks on the choke chains of the dogs and pulls them back around behind the house. The butler leads you into a room where he introduces you to a very expensively dressed elf who's lounging on a velvet settee, drinking dark liquid from a cup in front of a fireplace and smoking a cigar, which you smell and like, that's not elven tobacco, that's definitely dwarven tobacco. The butler gives the guy the lowdown on the situation. He says, yes. He says, the deck of many things. He says, has it come to the Syllwode? This is very interesting news. Sit. You're looking for it, eh? That probably means you already have some. How many cards do you have? How much do you want for them?
I don't have very many. I'm just looking for one, actually.
He says, one card in particular. He says, yes, I've heard that individual cards do retain some of the power of the set. He says, what is it that you're trying to do? Find a small wish, or perhaps stave off death? He says, make a fortune? Are you looking to strike some kind of bargain with the fates?
I'm hoping to redeem my father. He made a bad choice once, and if I find this card, I think I can help him out.
He kind of perks up. He sits forward in his chair, putting his glass down, and then, thinks better of himself, and he says, oh, my goodness, where are my manners? He says, can I get you something to drink, my dear?
I would love a glass of ice water.
Very good. He, snaps his fingers, and the butler buttles off to go fetch it for you. He kind of scoots forward onto the edge of the settee and takes a little draw of his stogie, expelling the smoke up towards the ceiling instead of towards you. And he says, and who... he says, your father. He says, who is this deal with? The nature of the dirty deal.
I apologize, fine sir. I respect the courtesy you've given me, but I don't know you. Why would I tell you all of my story?
He says, well, we're sharing information here, aren't we?
Well, I'm sharing.
He says, very well. He says, what would you like to know about me? He lounges back on the settee and puts the stogie in his mouth.
Have you seen the card that I seek?
He takes a little puff, and he kind of looks down at you, and a sly smile pulls across his face, and then he seems to come to a decision in his mind. He leans forward and ashes the stogie, and he says, No, I have not. I, unfortunately, have not laid eyes on any of the card of the Deck of Many Things, although I am very interested to do so. And should you change your mind and wish to sell the cards that you have, I would be most interested and give you more than a fair price.
Could I ask why you're so interested?
He says, those artifacts are great power. He says, the relics alone. He says, if you were to locate the card with the gem on it, my, you could acquire a small fortune. He says, and not to mention the wish. He says, the things that I could do, the power I could cultivate, the riches I could amass.
You sound like a stand-up elf, but unfortunately, I don't think we can do business.
He says, now, that is a terrible shame. I says, well, there's no need of you heading back out into the dark woods for the night. Why don't you make yourself comfortable here? I have plenty of spare rooms. He says, everything on the up and up, I promise. He puts his hands up. He says, as one elf to another, as a family in good standing. He says, I would not dream of perpetrating anything upon your person.
I have to ask, you found out my family name. You must know what's happened here. Why did you let me in your home?
He says, well, curiosity, I suppose. Plus, there's not a lot of elves, especially elves with your training, on the outside. I was hoping perhaps you and I could come to an accord.
And if we can't?
If we can't, then, well, nothing ventured, nothing gained, and nothing lost, really. The ice water is set down on the small table beside you. He reaches over and grabs his own glass and swirls the amber liquid around, smelling it before he takes a small sip, enjoying its taste and the burning sensation on his tongue. He says, I'm a businessman first and foremost. There's no point in creating bad blood. If there's nothing to be come to an accord here between us, then you're free to go. I bear you no ill will.
I appreciate that. Maybe you could just tell me what cards you're searching for, and if I find them on my ventures, maybe I could come back and make a deal with you.
Ooh, he says any and all. He says primarily, though, the card of the gemstone, or perhaps the card of the throne. Yes, the throne.
All right. I will keep my eyes open for them, and I will remember your hospitality.
He says, my dear little Talman, I appreciate it. Now, he says, Buttlesby will show you to your room. And he lounges back onto the settee and seems to lose
I'm
himself.
actually going to leave, though.
Pardon?
I'm leaving, though.
Okay. Yeah, Buttlesby looks a little bit confused, but as you head towards the door, he says, very well. He says, good evening, my dear. Do be careful in the woods. He says, further to the north, there are some, wild creatures, but you know.
Thank you, Buttlesby. I go to rejoin the group.
Excellent. You find them skulking in some bushes just on the outside of the property line.
All right, well, I didn't really believe everything he said, but I don't think he has the card.
Yeah.
Although there's a good chance our cover might be blown.
Yeah. Pretty good. Well,
New disguises, everyone!
all right. Did you get a look at, the inside of the house? If she was to describe it to Elliot, I'm guessing it's... No, this guy's a crime lord. He's not going to have a house that's easy to break into.
She
I
saw
got a
3
good
rooms.
look at every room I was in.
Yeah. I'm not bothered. If if you think it's likely not in this village, and he didn't really have any useful information, he would be the one to have it. So I say continue on.
Are we sure he's like the man of the village? There's no one else above him? His father or something?
No, he's the guy.
If he's the head dude in the biggest house, then yeah, he's the guy.
Well, then he must be lying.
But there's so many villages, right? Like this is just one village of the whole Syllwode, and there's like the capital city had like 3 or 4, but there's nothing saying that there couldn't have been 5 in there.
Oh, I thought that we got pointed like right to this place.
No, Evans just pointed us east, and that's the direction that we went in.
All right. Well, he didn't seem like he was going to turn us over or betray us. I think he feels I might bring him back a card.
Yeah, no, I say we get out of here is like right now. I'll put on my pack.
Yeah, let's go.
All right. Are you guys going to camp out in the woods or just walk through the night?
We're so many days away. I think we may as well keep a regular pace and camp out tonight. We'll do like rotating watches, that sort of thing.
I wouldn't mind sleeping in a tree a little bit.
All right, somebody make a nature check to make the campsite, and Arwen make a nature check to disguise the campsite.
Yeah. Back-to-back 16s.
Could have been worse.
Yeah,
You go through the entire night undiscovered.
could have been. Okay.
Sounds like we were close.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you can all make. Are you? Is anyone missing healing surges?
Not at this point.
I don't think I've even been healed since my battle with herpes.
Oh well, you can spend a healing surge. I guess it's been a couple days, so why don't you just put yourself to full health and full healing surges? Right. You guys spent 4 days riding out of the Syllwode where you had been camping every night, so you had time to sleep and time to rest and stuff. I'm just going to assume you took 10 on all of those endurance checks.
Yeah.
That's gracious, thank you.
Well,
Oh,
we always regain 1, right?
Unless you crit fail.
Right.
All right. The next day. The next day is a little bit slower going. As you're getting deeper into the Syllwode, there are more possible encounters with elves that Arwen has to divert and move you guys around. There's one part where you lose almost 3 hours in the day circumnavigating a small village.
You don't need nature checks to keep us heading like due east from where Vince pointed?
No, I'm just saying that Arwen is familiar enough with the Syllwode that you guys are good to go.
Okay, good.
But you pass that entire day without really passing any villages of note, right? You pass by some places here and there, but Arwen is able to make some history checks and things, and there's like no one really powerful that lives out in any of these villages.
Right.
So, are you going to walk through the night again, or are you going to camp?
I say camp.
All right, another 2
And-
nature
and-
checks, one to make the camp and the other for Arwen to hide it.
Nobody disagrees?
Can I also hunt?
Yes, you can hunt. You guys are probably running low on rations and stuff.
Okay, I'll make camp. Oof.
Arwen hides the hell out of that camp. Unfortunately, Elliot finds a shitty place to camp, so you'll be at a much a higher DC to regain healing surges. But you guys are full, so you're all right.
So is
found
it
this-
nature again for hunting?
Yes.
Oof.
Arwen is able to find some like berries and mushrooms that are fine to eat, but that's enough. So we'll say that she's able to. It doesn't cost you a ration to eat dinner.
Very light salad dinner.
It's true. Murgatroyd's not very happy. You probably reached the end of your jerky stores, Murgatroyd. Oh, I forgot Jay's gone. So yeah, Murgatroyd is very unhappy. It's a very unhappy shrubbery. All right, the next day, once again, it's a little slower going, closer you get into town, but through Arwen's help, you're able to avoid any interaction with elves. You pass by a town where there is a guy who is of note. We'll say it's a small religious town, a village built up around an abbey sort of thing, and there is a guy who is in charge of the abbey. Anybody help me out here? What's that guy called?
Proctor?
Abbot. There's an abbot who is of some note.
Is Hatim still? Do we have Hatim?
No.
Okay, Arwen, I guess you are. If you don't mind blowing your cover again, then you're our paladin holy person.
Well, let me do a religion check first.
Oh, man. Yes, you know this guy, and you know this church, and this is a church of, like, the lawfulest of goods of elven gods.
Thank God.
I'm not sure that's a good thing.
It's good for me.
Is it? If they're super lawful, then aren't they going to turn you in?
I didn't do
Technically, you're
anything.
breaking
I
the
was
law.
free to go.
Sorry?
Well, I guess I'm breaking into the Syllwode now.
Yeah.
You should go turn yourself in. By the way, I'm the conscious on your shoulder.
So, by the way, I actually know these people? Or no?
Yeah, no, you don't know this person. You know of this person. He is, he's like the abbot in all of the Syllwode of the air god Pyder.
So, lawful good means they can't do bad?
Lawful good means they obey the laws, yeah.
They obey the laws that they think are laws or all laws?
They obey the laws of gods, so yeah. But you're also pretty sure that if you go in there, there's a really good chance this guy's going to turn you in for coming back into the Syllwode when you weren't allowed to be.
Well, crap shit damn. Guys, what do you want to do?
Well, you're the only elf, so it's possible that they I mean, it's possible they will see right through the disguises. But if you'd rather not, I could give it a shot and just head in and try my damnedest on the bluffing.
How do they feel about repentance?
They're pretty big on repentance.
Like if someone went in, like to a confessional and, repented for their sins, how would they feel about that?
They're the air gods, or they worship the air god, so they believe in the purifying power of God's breath, and that your sins can be blown away, and that there is cleansing power in the winds. So I'm gonna say that the temple is designed very much in that way. It's a very open concept. There's lots of pillars. There's not so much shutters on the windows as louvers, so they can direct the airflow and create natural channels and things like that. You are pretty sure that if you go in there repentant, it's tough because you have nothing to be repentant against the gods, right? So in the eyes of the gods, you're good. It's in the eyes of the law that you're not good. And you would probably still need to be punished. However, they might find some other form of punishment for you.
What do you guys want to do?
These guys might not necessarily hand you over, but they would they would give you the choice. They'd be like, we can either hand you over or you can do what we want to do to you, but we're still going to tell the authorities that you're here.
I mean, a church is less likely to hold on to like an object like this.
I'm not above self-sacrifice, but what are their rules on breaking laws for the better good?
I guess if it serves the gods, right?
Yeah, case by case. So sketchy.
And what is the greater good in this case? The greater good is like us trying to get Murgatroyd's family mine back.
Well, the way I would spin it is us getting rid of the Brock family who is poisoning the Syllwode.
Hello, test.
Yeah, you're good.
You're there.
Sorry about that.
if you wanna go for it, sure. I'm also happy to take the reins on this one. I mean, you are the natural elf, so there's a chance they're gonna. My bluff is like I'm pretty good. There's a chance that they'll see through my disguise, and there's a chance that they won't buy my story. For you, there's a chance they won't buy your story. There's a chance that they're gonna turn you into the authorities, and your family will be disgraced, and a chance that they won't buy your story.
That's a worse decision than the last decision I had to make. So the group make the decision, please, or come up with something better.
All right, I'll go for it.
You're going into the temple?
Yeah, I'll leave my adventure kit there. I guess my adventure kit doesn't really have much. I don't have any weapons really. I have like the crossbow and my dagger, and I'll go in. But my aim here is to find sanctuary,
Right.
to rest and and kind of sit and pray and find myself, sort of thing.
Okay. Excellent. Yeah, you approach, and as soon as you kind of get within earshot, you start to hear the sounds of, there's like wind chimes and spinning pinwheels and a bunch of like fluted columns that are set up with different heights of water, and the wind blows over them and creates notes. It's very musical, but all the musical things are driven by wind. And
Right.
in fact, as you enter the temple itself, which the front doors are standing wide open, the design and the layout of the place is built so that it channels the wind. So you step in the door, and the first thing you're greeted by is this blast of air. But as soon as you're kind of over the lintel, that blast turns into swirls that kind of go back and forth across you.
I'll touch my face. Does it feel like my disguise has come askew?
No.
Okay. I'll is there a ton of people about?
Yeah, there are a couple elves. All the elves in here are wearing very like loose and light cotton linen robes that blow and bluster in the wind in different ways. They all got like the Marilyn Monroe thing going on.
Okay. I don't suppose I would. I guess I'll approach one of them. I'll try and mirror their behavior, and in kind of a bow, ask if I can sit and pray.
He says, "Yes, welcome, brother. Please." There's no sitting to pray here. You stand so that the wind can blow all around you.
I understand.
And there are various, like you notice that in these guys. They don't have to tell you. There are various places, much like in other churches, where there's little alcoves with candles or things to pray at. Here, there's alcoves, but the alcoves are just little wind tunnels. So you stand before that and let the wind blow across you as you are cleansed by its mystical energies.
Okay. Mostly, I'm kind of trying to get a read on the place, see if I can spot any hierarchies in the monks, or if I see the abbot himself wandering around. But I doubt it.
Yeah, you will not see the abbot wandering around. You do notice that everyone has to speak a little bit louder because there's constant wind blowing and all the chimes and tutors and woofers and stuff. So everyone has a little bit of a shout to their voice because they're used to speaking over all this din.
Gotcha. All right. I'll approach one of them and ask if the abbot is around and if he takes visitors.
He says, yes, the abbot is here. He will be conducting our sundown mass as the changing of the winds from west to east blow the evening stars into the sky. Come, brother.
I'll follow him.
Excellent. He leads you to the chapel where they have, like, in the big domed ceiling, there's like a big windmill that's sitting horizontally instead of vertically. So it's like a gigantic ceiling fan that slowly rotates under the force of the wind.
Okay. Are they like leading me to the sundown mass, or just to where the abbot is, and they just told me that he was leading the sundown mass later?
They're leading you to the mass.
Okay, so it's happening now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Excellent. So yeah, you go into the large room where there are like woven mats on the floor, and you can see them all kind of kneeling down on the mats on the floor.
Okay, I'll kneel with them. I'll take one. If there's one kind of near the front, I'll take that.
Okay, excellent. He stands up front, and a large part of the mass is him kind of going around Blue Man Group style and lifting little things off of various wind chimes or tubes and creating a music scape as the wind blows in and around. At various points, there's like louvers and stuff on the sides of the room that get closed, and louvers on the other side that get opened, so the wind in the room kind of changes direction from east to west, and you can feel the cooler air blow in as the night settles. He gives a little bit of a sermon spoken in Elven about how the winds can blow us to where we need to go, and even when walking into the wind, it is not the wind opposing you, it's the wind holding you up.
Like it's supporting me.
Yeah. And that is kind of the general gist of the thing. And it winds down as they all kind of stand up and flap their robes. It seems to be like they're sort of, instead of crossing themselves, they grab the hems of their garments and flap it to kind of get air circulating around inside their robes. And they all do that. They face each other and flap their robes again and flap their robes. And then they disperse. But the abbot is up front talking to one of the other monks.
I'm going to approach and stand there kind of patiently.
Okay. It doesn't take long before he says, he blesses him with, they bless each other by blowing in each other's faces.
At least they're not farting at each other.
No, that's the evil god of air. That's... So he turns to you eventually, the abbot says, brother, greetings and welcome. What was your disguise roll again?
19 in bluff.
Oh, nice. Okay. Yes, he says, it's always nice to see fresh faces here at the Church of Pyder.
I'll nod. Yes. This is all so new to me, so exciting. So it's so peaceful here. The winds have guided me here. If you'll forgive the parlance, I am very uneducated. But I am an adventurer, and I want to kind of gauge his reaction just to that.
He smiles and he says, "Well," he says, there are all types of winds that blow through this world. He says, I'm glad that they have brought you here to us. He says, how can we help you? Do you require a place to stay for this evening?
I nod, say yes, and I'm doing my best to follow the wind to. I'm in search of some ancient artifacts in the hopes of cleansing them and cleansing the area.
They say, very good. So he kind of is now walking and talking with you, and he leads you past out of the chapel and towards a different corridor. And as he kind of passes the entrance of the chapel, he stops for a moment and just kind of pauses with his hands folded against each other, smiling at you. And he says, we are more than happy to provide you with a place to stay for this evening and any information. And if you enjoyed the sermon and enjoy your time here, please. And he nods towards a box, which you see in Elvish writing as donations.
Oh, yeah. In my time in Liliander, do they deal with Inurian gold, or do they have their own?
They have their own. It's that carved wood. So it's different types of rare, precious wood, like mahogany or red cherry, form the different values of coin. But you have some.
Oh, okay. Yeah, then I'll put in a handful of coins.
Excellent. They clatter into the box, and he smiles, and he says, thank you. And yes, he then continues to walk with you down the hallway, and he says, very good. He says, yes, religious artifacts are always being sought by our church, especially those relating to Pyder.
Right. These are not relating to Pyder, as far as I am aware. You may have heard of them. They have many names, but the name I'm most familiar with is the Deck of Many Things.
He says, "Oh," and he grabs the hem of his garment and flaps it a few times, and then blows, shaking his head back and forth. And he says, "Yes," he says, "this is a wild and uncontrolled magic." He says, "Do you believe that they are here in the Syllwode?"
I have heard that one is here in the Syllwode, yes.
He says, "There are dark times." He says, I have heard word that there was some humans allowed to enter Liliander, and one of them committed a most terrible murder. He says, "I am not surprised if this wildness was not brought on by the presence of this chaotic magic." He flaps his skirts again and will...
I'll nod and ask if you were to guide an adventurer and a fellow follower, where would you suggest? Where would you direct?
He says, "Well, it sounds like the most of this madness has taken place in Liliander. I would make most haste to that location." He
Yes.
says, "Have you been there before?"
No.
He says, "Oh, it's quite simple." He says, just proceed down the way you would have entered here, follow those to the stand of beach, and that marks the trail that leads directly to Liliander. It's the main highway. Just take it and follow it east. Do not deviate."
Thank you. I'll ask is there like stables or something? I prefer to sleep outside, and I do travel with some companions. They also prefer to sleep outside.
He says, "Well, your companions would be most welcome to sleep wherever they like." You sense he looks back towards the donations box, and he says, "Of course," right? And he leads you to a very open kind of stables area. Much like the rest of the design of this place, airflow is a big deal.
Right. I'll say thanks, and I'll move to like shake his hand. Will he? Do they do that?
No, he when you reach out to shake his hand, he just kind of grabs the hem of his skirts again and flaps it at you and blows in your face.
I'll blow back in his face and nod and say thanks, and then head back to my companions.
He smiles.
Yeah, I was gonna palm him some money, but apparently they don't shake hands.
No, you could put it in the donations box.
I could put it in my mouth and spit it out.
Yeah, you could do that.
Okay. All right, I'll head back. Yeah, guys. Okay. No, he doesn't. He has heard nothing. It's likely in Liliander. We can sleep here in the stables if we want, so we don't have to camp so much.
Are you talking to all of us?
Yeah.
If we must.
Did he provide any food?
No. They might have some, but I doubt it.
I can attempt another hunt.
Sure. If you go hunting, I'll ask him if I'll put another handful of elf money in the donation. Actually, no. I'll do. I'm an adventurer, so it would make sense for me to have some Inurian gold. I'll put 5 Inurian gold in the box and ask if there's any if we can get in on some broth or bread or something.
The abbot is not around when you do that, but one of the other monks.
Any of them, yeah, just one of the monks.
He says to you, "We only eat food that has been provided to us by the wind, so fruit that has been dropped or things that have been uncovered. The only protein that we dine upon is provided by fowls." He says, "So we have hard-boiled eggs."
Sure, yeah, that would be amazing.
Excellent. He says,
No nature roll?
you can make a nature roll if you like, yeah. Nice. Arwen kind of, as you're scrounging, you see the orchards and the nut trees and things like that where that obviously provide food for this particular monastery. And you also pass by several large chicken coops where you see a few guys harvesting things, and they have a pretty good aviary behind here too. There's ducks and geese and lots of things being kept and observed, and some more interesting and rare birds in cages.
I also don't want to steal anything from anybody.
Okay, excellent.
They would also probably have an apiary.
Yeah, if they want to keep apes.
No, those are beehives.
I'm busting your balls, man.
Oh, thanks. Good one.
Awesome.
But yeah, that does make sense too. Yeah, so you can. I don't know if you would consider that stealing to take some honey from their beehives, but you're able to find some things with a roll of 20. You're able to, there's a pond and you pull out some water chestnuts and you go deeper into the woods and find some more fungus and things like that to eat.
All right, I just want to find things in nature. I don't want to find anything that's in captive that is already somebody else's property.
Excellent. Perfect. So Arwen comes back with some assorted roots and mushrooms and some, we'll say some more wild berries. And it's not too long before the guy comes out with a basket that has some apples in it and another basket that is steaming and containing a dozen or so hard-boiled chicken eggs and half a dozen hard-boiled duck eggs.
Awesome. I'll blow in his face.
He blows in your face as well and flaps the hems of his garment.
Nice. Man.
Eating like kings and queens tonight.
Excellent. Yes, you chow down, and because of the great air circulation, this hay is dry and doesn't stink like horses.
Okay. Rotating watch, I guess, and head out in the morning.
Alrighty. How many days has that been? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you are just over halfway back to Liliander now.
Yay.
Just as the, token elf here, can I just, make sure everybody remembers the generosity of these elves as we move on?
God, no.
I did give them a ton of money. Like for a church, like 5 gold and however much that elf money is worth.
But
Just mark off the elf money. Mark off the elf money on your sheet in the same amount as of Inurian money.
Sure.
And sorry to step on you there, Crystal. Go ahead.
Also, nobody is chasing us yet, so the last place we were at hasn't turned us in. So maybe some elves are okay?
We're wearing disguises.
Not to them. I told them everything.
Oh, yeah, that happened.
Yeah, Arwen totally spilled the beans.
Why?
I have faith in my brethren.
It's done now. We should go.
All right. With Arwen's help, you guys skulk and sneak for the next 3 days, walking along the side of the road, diving into the ditch for cover whenever you hear the sounds of horses or patrols or anything. You're able to stop in several other smaller villages where you meet other interesting and colorful and creative people who none of them have any sign or indication of where the last card from the deck of many things might be. On the third day, also you've been hunting this whole time, so you're good rations-wise and all that jazz. On the third day, you step off the path when you hear the sounds of running feet coming down the path towards you. However, you peer out of the bushes to see Jack and 4 elven guards running. Together, they're like smiling at each other and talking back and forth, but they are moving at a faster rate than a slow walk, heading directly west.
This day just gets better and better.
I'll run up into their path.
Okay, they kind of run towards you, and the guards say, "Step aside, citizen."
I'll say, "Please help! I'm very lost."
All right,
and
Jack puts up his hand, and the guards are kind of like, I thought we were making haste. And Jack says, "There is no haste too great to help someone in need."
Yeah.
And he says it in Elven too, which is a bit impressive. Except it's broken, so he's like, "No haste too great to help needed."
I'll say we're trying to get to Liliander, and I'm trying to remember if we ever had any kind of signals with Jack, but I don't think we did.
No, and he has no idea.
Great.
So Jack says, very easy in Elf. He says, "Go this road to Walking, and then one of the elf guards just kind of waves him off with a smile and says, "You take too long." He says, "It's very simple. This is the main highway. It will take you directly to Lilyander. Continue heading east," says, "and now, if you'll excuse us, we have to escort this minotaur to the outskirts of town."
I say, wait. And I draw really super quick. The S is for Sex Dragon, like the one that I've been doing for the cards.
Right.
And look at them and say, has anyone seen any of these?
Let's make another IQ check here for Jack. Oh, good God Almighty! Jack kind of looks down at it and he scratches his head. He says, "Yes, it appears to be a symbol that I've seen before somewhere on one of the cards for the deck of many things." He says, "Why are you searching for such an item?" Oh, I forgot. His English is really broken, so he's like, "Yes, look like picture on card. Why you look for card?"
I'm gonna ask him in Anurian. Like, you speak Anurian easier?
At this, his eyes widen, and oh my God, rolling under 5 this whole time for him to recognize you. So his eyes widen, and he goes, "Yes, speak Anurian better." He says, "You look for cards, deck many things. So do me and my friends, the Rod Stewards. They were escorted this way. Have you seen them? There is a dwarf and a fancy man."
Gonna shake my head. Do the guards look like they're understanding the Anurian?
No.
Can I do like an insight?
Yes.
I want to see like how not understanding they are. 22.
Yeah, they're just kind of looking around impatiently.
Okay. I'll say like it's Sublime is waiting. We're short only one card. You don't have it, do you?
Jack kind of looks surprised and then finally recognizes you, and he goes, "Oh, Elliot, I do."
I'll sort of like say we're in disguise. You have the last one?
Is it the last? I have one.
Yeah, I'll quickly ask him what's on it.
Hey, I forget which one he has. The image of the one card you guys are missing.
Okay, great. I'll give him the thumbs up and say we'll keep heading towards the exit. We'll meet you with Sublime.
He says, "Excellent, excellent. I am most happy." He says, "Is everyone with you?"
I'll give him the like sort of hand signal and tell the guards thank you in Sylvan Elven and head back to the party.
Yeah, Jack then turns to you and in Sylvan Elven says, "Good luck. Enjoy Lilyander. I recommend the something restaurant at this place." And the other guards, they nod their heads too. And then they take off running again, heading west.
Oh, God. Okay, back to the party. Back to
Sweet.
Skulking in the woods.
Lie to
we
him.
have
Tell him
every
you don't
card?
have it.
Okay, bad news, guys. The card is in Lufa. We gotta go to Lufa. Let's go.
Well, okay.
No,
I think we should make camp first. Oh, sorry, I'm just missing herpes.
Dear Lord, stop.
Okay, Jack has the last card. Let's go.
Wait, Jack has the last card.
Yes.
So are we missing anything?
No, that's the last one. We have 21 of them. He has the 22nd.
Jack has his... Alright, let's go meet Jack.
Okay, I think we should keep skulking, but this time we'll go through the nights sort of thing.
All right.
I mean, if we run, they're likely to spot us.
Arwen would like to also say thank you so much for, not getting into combat and crap.
Combat is rarely Elliot's prerogative, so no problem at all. Yeah. Okay. Let's go. Out.
All right. 4 endurance checks in a row, please, for everybody.
All right.
13, 15, 17, 19.
4 in a row for each person?
Yes. Elliot lose 2 healing surges as you guys continue to run through the night.
Okay.
Ah, fuck, that's not how I thought that would work.
Nope, it's all right. I can do the math that way. Fortunately, Valhalla, that means you lose 3 healing surges.
Wonderful.
And Arwen, you lose 2. Lose 2 healing surges.
Gotcha.
So you guys arrive a little bit exhausted, but because of your night skulking and Arwen's ability to avoid any guards, it takes you 4 days to reach the campsite where Sublime and Jack are. When you sneak out of the woods, you see the two of them laughing and exchanging a bottle back and forth. And that's where we'll end for the night.